Alright, what's going on YouTube? Yo, this is my spoiler-free review for Squid Game Season 3. Hit the like button, subscribe, let's get it right into it. Alright, so yo, right out the gate, I'm gonna say I love this season. Season 3 was incredible. Now, what I love is how we got thrusted back into, the ending of Season 2. Like how everybody is just depressed, everybody's sad. Your boy, Jin Han, player 456, he's down. He's blaming himself because, he started this rebellion. You know what I mean? And then his best friend gets killed. A lot of people got killed in the process, And then the front man, being the diabolical person that he is, he kept them alive, which we all know this is like an experiment for him. You know what I mean? Like, he just wants to prove a point that, we are all like test subjects. You can't trust in humans. Humans are, despicable. Anything involving money, humans are basically going to sell their souls and do whatever they got to do. You know what I mean? So he kept player 456 alive for that particular reason. And then again, he's down. And I just love like this emotional roller coaster that we go through with Jin Han. You know what I mean? Because at first he's sad, he's down. And then somebody fed him a little bit of information about your boy Don Ho, which us as the viewer, we definitely want to see how this situation was going to get resolved. They fed him some information, and your boy Jin Han was on demon time. he wanted revenge, and he wanted revenge in the most worst way possible. And I love that because now we see like, okay, now he's angry. He wants revenge. When we do the next game, which is hide and go seek, which is probably the most diabolical game in this whole series, which I'm gonna get into that later on. But it's like he was a man on a mission. He was searching for him. And then, when he did what he did, we saw that aspect of his character. Did it make him feel any better? We don't know. I mean, to me personally, it seemed as if it didn't make him any better. But then he gets another wave of emotions later on because of a player by 222, the potential mother. Now he kind of gains the role of being a protector again, a slight motivator, because now he has to look out for somebody else, you know what I mean, which is the baby from player 222, which is just crazy that they even incorporated the baby into the show. Anyway, diabolical. Shouts out to the writers. But we do get that aspect. And then of course, which we saw in the trailer, he finally was going to have that sit down conversation with the front man, and then they finally did it. He finally revealed his identity to him, and they had like a one-on-one conversation, and the front man was just trying to see where Jin Han's head is at. He was offering him a knife to protect himself because of a potential situation, but Jin Han was basically, well, he didn't give him an answer right then and there, but as we saw later on, he basically gave the front man an answer, as in saying, yo, we're humans at the end of the day, and I do love aspects of just that back and forth between them, that psychological mind game that they've been playing. Now also too, one thing about season 3 is that I kind of feel as if the front man took a bit of a back seat here, because there are a lot of characters in this show, in this season in particular. There's a lot of characters, a lot of different moving beats that's going on. So in a way, it's like the front man took a back seat. Now we did get aspects flashbacks, that we did get a chance to see. So we kind of, in a way, got a chance to like see, like what he be thinking, his thought process, his way of thinking, and the stuff that we did see. We got a chance to see stuff when he was in the games, which was crazy, but we saw him as a person. Season 2, they really touched on him, psychologically and everything. He was fantastic in season 2, but season 3, he took more of a backseat for sure. Now, this season, like I said, it has a lot of characters. So I would say there's like 3 main plot lines. Of course, plot line number 1, Jin Han going through the games, the savagery of these games, the intensity, just trying to make it through, That's plot line number 1. Plot number 2 is the pink soldier, the woman from North Korea, and she's helping out player, I think he's player 246. She's helping him out because he has a sick daughter, and then she was a little mascot at the little theme park that she was at. So it's crazy to see like her storyline, because of course she feels some type of way. She's searching for her daughter, you know what I mean, because she served time in the military. But so she kind of feel that, that connection with the little girl. So she's doing everything she can to save player 246. Like, it's crazy. Like all the things that she go through, like you guys are gonna see, like it's really insane. You know what I mean? Like all the things that she do, the the lines that she crossed just to, like, ensure his safety. It was really good just to see. And then also too, pertaining to her character, the reveal that we get later on, I think in the finale episode, man, crazy. Like, another thing too about season 3, this by far is the most traumatic season. These characters go through so much these characters go through. I mean, my gosh, like some of the most saddest stuff I was watching for sure. It was pretty brutal, because this is like the finale here. So a lot of things need to transpire in this, and my God, it was insane. But again, I touched on the plot lines. I would say the third plot line C, was about the detective. I can't think of his name. John Bay, I think his name was, and then Woo Seok. They're with the captain and they're trying to find the island, and we all know the captain is shady. So I'm gonna be honest with you, like in season 2, that plot line I did not care for at all. Like every time we went over there, it's like, yo, bring me back to the island, to the games. But I feel as if it does a really good job with showing us more and more of the situation. Like, we're just not stuck on a boat, Woo Seok, he goes off on the boat. He does some digging about the captain. We get a little bit more backstory. He gets thrusted into a crazy situation on top of that when he does make some type of discoveries pertaining to the captain. And then I love a particular scene where he calls, the detective and lets him know, about the captain, and then what leads up to that point. I thought that was a very intense moment, you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh snap, like things is picking up now, But I do love that aspect of it. But again, I do feel as if that was the weakest part of the story, because we all know the bread and butter is what's going on that island. But again, I do like the fact that they do try with that storyline, because again, it's juggling a whole lot of characters for sure. Now, the games. Now, I think we only get 2 games here in season 3, the jump rope game and the dreadful hide and go seek game. Oh my gosh, like that episode was so brutal. That was the most despising episode ever. And the cinematography, like the way it was shot, phenomenal. The director does a phenomenal job with this show, because they use the little handheld, so you kind of get like that first person type POV shot, like you're following the characters, kind of the shaky cam, so it feels aggressive, it feels like in your face, it feels that you're right there beside them, especially when they're running down these hallways, they're going through the doors and everything in a hide and go seek game. Like, it was crazy. It was very, very intense. And then again, Jihan was a man on a mission. He's looking for Hondo. You know what I mean? He's looking for him. He's trying to get some revenge, But also too, you got the story beats of player 222. The potential mother, the old lady, her son. I can't stand her son. He's so soft. And then I saw it coming. I didn't see it happening like that. You know what I mean? Like, that was just so sad. That was a very, very sad and crazy moment for sure. But my gosh, like, it was just incredible. That whole episode was phenomenal. The shaman, how she had the followers with her, and then she didn't have no more followers after that. But she was, I really thought, see, I don't want to spoil too much, but the shaman character, that was crazy how she had the followers going with her and, trying to make it through the maze. The sleazy old man, 100. The old man is like, he was making it through the maze and everything. I was like, damn, like this guy won't die. You know what I mean? But the hide and go seek game was crazy. And of course, the baby daddy of player 222, what's his number? I got him all written down right here. His number was 333, the Bitcoin guy. His villain arc was ridiculous. He was just greedy for money. I think he's worse than, the main villain from season 1, if I'm being completely honest, because the things that he do towards the end of the show was just despicable. But even the stuff he did in the hide and go seek game, like even in season 2, he did just some messed up things. But what he did, particularly in this episode, was just like, dude, like he's a bad person. He's a bad person for real. But I mean, my gosh, the jump rope game was crazy. Like, something as easy as jump roping, like something that we all can do. They made it hard and more difficult because there was a particular character who started to do something which made the game crazier and intense. And it's like, oh my gosh, like I was on the edge of my seat. I was kind of mad at Ginhan for, not stepping in a little bit sooner. You know what I mean? But oh my gosh, like even that game, they made it intense and crazy, and you felt really, really bad for a particular character, but overall, this show was dope. Now, did they wrap it up good? I feel as if they did. And then, what transpired at the ending, to me personally, it was satisfying because the characters that were involved in the last episode, I don't want to say I saw it happening, but when we got down to like the final three characters, it's like, okay, I see where this is going, and again, I was satisfied with the ending. The character 456, he was there to try to prove a point with the front man, and that's what this show was really all about. It was touching on social commentary pertaining to those elements, and I think it really did hit the landing. I really did. And then of course we get some type of closure because I forgot about Players 456, daughter. We get some type of closure with her, and then we get some type of closure with the pink soldier, the woman from Korea, North Korea, the military girl. And then they do set us up with, continuing these games, but in America, which Netflix been announced that they were, talking about doing Squid Games, but an American version, which I'm interested to see, how that's going to be the case. I'm very interested to see how they pull that off. That's going to be interesting. But overall, I had a great time with this show. Season 3 was a masterpiece. Overall, all 3 seasons is phenomenal. Like, this is just phenomenal television. Squid Game is hands down one of the best shows I've ever watched. Okay, but again, comment down below, man. Let me know what you guys think. All right, as always, I'm out.